quick, if you're hyped for the Season X event happening later this week, drop a like below. Also, be sure to leave your best event theories in the comments section for a chance to be featured in an upcoming video. It is currently the last day of September. It's the 30th, and I cannot wait to see what's going to happen later this week, most likely this upcoming Saturday, October 5th, as it relates to the upcoming Season X live event. Theories are spiraling all around the internet, everywhere I check between YouTube, Twitter, Reddit, everywhere, and just about this time, every time an event starts, there is an insane spiraling of theories and all sorts of stuff going around. So in this video, what I'm going to do is cover some of the most popular theories I've read around the internet, some of the theories that I think make the most sense, and of course, I welcome you to continue dropping your ideas below for a chance to get featured in my next video. So as I'm sure a lot of you guys know, Kevin the Cube has been roaming the outer edges of the Fortnite map for several weeks now, ever since the Fatal Fields beacon summoned him into the game. Here's a tweet from Sheena BR on Twitter, and they say, just a random thought, but what if Kevin is a countdown to the end event? He's been roaming the edge of the map since he was brought back through the Rift beacon, and he's reaching his starting point very soon. And it is true, he has been going around the very edges, the coast of the map, if you will, for some time, and currently he is at Lonely Lodge, which means it won't be too much longer until he ends up back in his starting position. He's been moving pretty fast along the edges. If the event hypothetically starts in around 5 days, that's also a pretty reasonable amount of time for Kevin the Cube to make his way back to his original spawning point in Fatal Fields, which I think could be something to keep an eye on. Ever since this floating island returned to the game, everyone has been trying to figure out exactly what its purpose would be, and it might not be too much longer until we finally get to figure that out, which obviously I'm excited for. Here's an event leak courtesy of Crispy Leaks on Twitter, and they say just a quick overview of what the event will be like. First, there will be a launch warning, then the rocket will build up steam and be launched. Players will be moved, knocked, and slowed, which is obviously interesting. We know based on the video I uploaded yesterday or a few days ago that we are going to be transported to this specific point outside of the map at some point during the event. We have no idea when, for how long, or how, which obviously are three pretty important and burning questions. If you've got any theories or ideas as to how we could end up on this part of the map, be sure to let me know in the comment section. I got this tweet from Fight for Revenge 201, and they say the flowers around the Cattus are shaped like a butterfly, possibly representing the butterfly, cube, rocket, and the 0 point having an impact and destroying the map. And it is interesting because ever since the Cattus died right here and the skeleton was formed, there's this pink outline that's around the skeleton that obviously has been a mystery, and I've wondered myself why that's there, and I must admit it kind of looks similar to a butterfly. It does not look exactly the same, to be completely honest, but it looks similar enough to draw the comparison. Could this have been a hint that Kevin was going to come back at some point this season? And is it ultimately a hint as to what's going to happen during the live event? Could we be revisiting the in-between with the butterfly and that whole event from Season 6? It would not shock me considering how many things have already happened again this season, but in slightly different ways. I am honestly expecting a replay of different events, maybe going back in chronological order, maybe say Season 9's event starts and then 8, 7, 6, 5, and 4 until we get back to some kind of a new beginning map. Honestly, I'm not sure. I'm thinking out loud. I'd love to hear your thoughts. But yeah, I think it was very interesting to see that it does look a little bit like a butterfly, and obviously begs the question as to what that might mean. Here's a theory from my guy Nalo Raider, who says everything happens at once, of course referencing the upcoming event. All the events, that is. Time can't handle it. It breaks. We literally watch the map get destroyed. Blow up, vanish, break. As we escape on the rocket, we head into emergency downtime. When it's over, Season 11 begins. I was literally just talking about all the events being replayed here for the upcoming event, and I do feel like that's a pretty common and pretty standard theory at this point. He says we literally watch the map as it gets destroyed. Thinking about it, this would be a perfect spot for us to watch the map as it meets its inevitable demise. considering we know for a fact that we're going to be thrusted out here at some point during the event anyway. Now, let's transition to Reddit. This is a theory by Morg1603, and they say, my theory is that the cube will fly to Cattus' skeleton, which would be kind of interesting because we know that it looks like a butterfly around that area, and the butterfly is heavily associated with Kevin. But anyway, moving on. Zap it, and Cattus will begin to come back to life. The sword will glow and then disintegrate. Mecha will fly back down from the sky and get the virus from the brutes. He will then explode, and the shockwave will shoot us all back above the sea where the leaks say we will view the event, aka this spot yet again. Cattus won't really be affected by the blast because he is so big. Cattus will now lunge forward towards the orb and swallow it whole, which would be the exact opposite of what happened during the Season 9 event. If you'll remember, the Doggus robot was the one that actually absorbed the power from the orb, but according to this theory, this time it would be the Cattus, which would be right on par with everything else that's happened this season, aka replaying things from the past, except this time things are a little bit different. This superpowers the Cattus and he roars. The noise will push the cube back above the rocket, but the scientist won't realize. Cattus starts to shoot his lasers all over the map and the rocket starts to take off. I love this theory for several reasons. Number one, because it makes a good amount of sense. It's one of the best theories that I've seen. Number two, it explains why Kevin is in the game, right? Ultimately, it would be to zap the Cattus back to life using its powers and, of course, the energy we know it possesses. Something else that I want to add that makes sense as to why it possibly could go and bring the Cattus back to life. We know Kevin is evil. We know this because the whole theme of Season 6 was Darkness Rises. Arguably, the biggest part of that darkness was Kevin the Cube himself. We also know that the Cattus presented a huge threat to the Fortnite Island last season, and for all intensive purposes, can also be considered evil. If both Kevin and the Cattus are evil, it would make sense for Kevin to come back and then be a big reason as to why the Cattus is also resurrected. So, just some food for thought there. Alright, moving on. Here is another theory from Rowless over on Reddit, and he says, at 2 p.m. on October 5th, rocket sirens blare as the rocket begins to emit smoke and launches high up into the sky. Much like last time, it ejects the Stage 1 thrusters, and they land at Loot Lake, entering the 0 point. The rocket has reached its peak, and much like last time, its descent begins. The scientist repeats the voice lines heard in Season 4. The 0 point is going berserk, cracking and shifting at high speeds. The rocket is heading straight down towards the Loot Lake, and the two collide. The 0 point begins to suck players in, sending us to the in-between. We can't move and are forced to watch the rocket repeat the same actions as it did in Season 4. And then, from a second rift, that rocket appears and then another, until all members of the 7 arrive in their own rockets, punching a hole in space-time. So, in case you don't know, I feel like this is important for you to know, the scientist, which of course is the secret mystery skin for this season, has an interesting description. Essentially, he is an upgraded visitor, a much more advanced visitor. His description simply says, his mission is unknown, one of the 7. I've actually read a lot of different ideas about what the description could mean, and it's interesting, you know, one of the 7. The first thing my mind went to when I read this description is potentially this could be referring to how many different mystery skins we have in the game, right? And we have 7. The very first mystery skin we got was, of course, the Visitor back in Season 4. Every season since then, we've had a mystery skin unlockable that plays a big role in the story. Season 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and now X. That is 7 different seasons that we've had a mystery skin, so it could be referring to one of the 7 mystery skins, or it could be referring to one of 7 different visitors in different timelines, which I find unbelievably fascinating. I talked about the multiverse theory a little bit in one of my previous videos, and basically it's just the belief that there are infinite parallel universes where anything is happening. Literally any single thing you can imagine is happening. All possibilities. So hypothetically, there is a universe out there in which the Visitor succeeded with his original plan back in Season 4 and launched the rocket straight into Tilted Towers, destroying it. If that happened, then there are infinite different ways that universe could have gone, and who knows what would have happened storyline-wise if that had actually gone down. So maybe it is referring to different versions of the Visitor, and I just talked about a theory in which all the other visitors and their rockets would come back to this Fortnite realm for the event. Plus, the whole premise of this season is time travel, being stuck in a time loop, things broken with time travel, and all of these rift zones and places coming back emphasize that idea and ideal a whole lot. Guys, make sure you drop a like on the video and subscribe to the channel down below. I'd really appreciate that. Make sure you keep an eye on the channel for all of the latest updates coming your way the second I find them out. Only a handful of days away from Season 11 and, of course, the live event. And I can't wait to share with you everything I know as I learn it. I'll catch you guys later, and until next time, take it easy and peace out.